I love that you listen to us. You ask us what we want, what we would benefit from, and you produce that. You know, a lot of courses, I've taken courses on Udemy, Skillshare. They're there. They don't change. And as we know with business and creating print-on-demand products, trends change, themes change, colors change. So having the continued learning abilities and growing in your course is an amazing thing. I really do love it. And I really do appreciate you for all that you pour into us.
Hey, Cynthia, thank you so much for agreeing to share your story and for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, look, I'm wearing purple because I remember you mentioned that purple is your favorite color. So I thought, oh, I'll wear some purple.
I love that shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, me too. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what you do and how does Kawaii fit into your life?
Well, by day, I'm a medical record analyst.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that now for over 20 years. And in my spare time, I like to do art. I'm also an online entrepreneur where I dabble in art a bit with print on demand, or POD, as some of us know. And that it's interesting, my background. The way I got into healthcare was I wanted to go to art school, but I couldn't afford to.
Mm-hmm.
So years ago, back in the day, you could actually become a licensed practical nurse in a year. So I said, okay, I'll go to school for a year. I'll become a nurse. And when I'm a nurse, I can pay for art school. Well, after being in the hospital, hearing someone's deep, wet cough, I'm like, I don't think that's for me. So that's how I got into non-clinical healthcare. And over the years, just with working in life, art kind of fell behind. I was very discouraged that I didn't get into art school, and I really didn't pursue art afterwards. So it's been years since I've actually done art, and recently got back into it probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. And how did you get into print on demand?
I've been dabbling online in starting a business, trying to have a business since 2008. I've done so many different things. My first experience was having an eBay store. Mm-hmm. Had no idea what I was doing, so that bombed. I've done web design. I've been on Etsy with trying to sell web pages. I sold magnets on eBay. And then I was selling PLR, which is private label rights products. Mm-hmm. And I actually was selling books on Amazon. So in doing all of that, there was someone I followed who was showing you how to create web pages. And through the course of her business evolving, she got into a company called Spreadshirt. And Spreadshirt is like one of those original print-on-demand companies. So that's how I got introduced to it. So my very first start with print-on-demand was on Spreadshirt. And from there, it led to Amazon. And to make this story a little shorter, that's how we're here now.
Wow. And how did Kawaii come into that?
I was looking for a simpler art form. I was following a lot of artists on Instagram, and there were so many different styles. I wanted something simple because I was just getting back into art. So I wasn't trying to tackle anything complex with all the different shadings and highlights. And then I stumbled onto Kawaii. I really don't know how. I can't remember. And I just love that style of flat design. Yeah. And it was just interesting how with just those flat colors, you could still have an art piece that was pretty, told a story, and then was also touching. So that's how I discovered Kawaii.
I totally agree with you. And the interesting thing is that, like, I can do all of the highlights and realism, and I still do Kawaii because I find it to be a much stronger statement, even with the flat colors and simple lines. And as we always say, simple is not easy, right? Simple doesn't mean easy. But it is.
I discovered that.
Yes. And it takes a lot of thought to only select the essential parts, right?
Right. It does. Yeah. It really does. Yeah, so, that's another thing that attracted me to Kawaii. It looked easy, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, I would say, give me your experience. But my understanding is that once you understand the core principles, then it becomes achievable. Because I see people getting, like yourself, like our other members, getting results really, really fast without prior experience. Would you agree? Would you disagree? And feel free to be totally honest about your experience.
I'm sorry, my husband come in and distracted me. Would you please repeat that?
Yeah, of course. We were saying that Kawaii, the style of Kawaii is simple, and simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. But when you know the founding principles, you can achieve results pretty quickly. Like once you understand the big shapes and the principles of design and color and all that. Like from your experience, would you agree or disagree?
I agree with that. 100%. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So now tell me what happened when you came across my courses and now you are at the Kawaii Drawing Club. How is it going? Like, how is it changing the way that you experience art?
I would say, first, I want to tell how I discovered you.
Sure.
When I decided that Kawaii was what I wanted to pursue, I went and did a Google search. You were on the front page. You were at the top of the page, and you were the only person I saw teaching how to learn how to draw Kawaii. So I followed your free course, and then that led me to your 21-day paid course. And from there, we did Kawaii Drawing Academy, which is very intense.
Yes.
And then that led to the Kawaii Drawing Club. So from that experience, I learned the foundations of starting a design. Because years ago, when I discovered I had talent as an artist, I could just sit down and draw what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to an original idea of my own, I didn't know how to execute it. So with Kawaii, with your course, I'm learning how to start with the basic shapes and actually seeing things in shapes. And it's funny how I will go out somewhere and I'm like, that's a square or that's a circle, or, just looking at life and seeing life as shapes instead of what those objects really are. So that has really helped me to really create anything I really want to. Like I said, Kawaii may look easy, but it's not. But with starting with those basic shapes and learning the foundation of how to actually go about creating an art piece, that has really helped with your course.
That's great. Yeah. So it's giving you the tools to now go on and do your own beyond just copying what you already see, which you could already do before.
Right. But still sometimes when you copy, there may be the way the art or the design is structured that you still may not get, and having I call it your upside down T. And what it is your starting point of how you want to start your design. And it's that vertical line and then the horizontal line, in case people don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's
at
in
the
like every
bottom.
tutorial. Yeah, you know, it's almost like I just put those lines down and it's not a blank page anymore. You can add to
Right,
it. It's
right.
almost like a stress relief thing, but it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm learning recently that for me, I like a square or a rectangle.
Yeah,
Depending upon the shape
around.
and how
Yeah.
tall that object is, I like using that square and it's like you have a container
Mhm.
in which to start building that design. That really helps.
Perfect. And now, how does this translate into your Amazon and POD work? Having these skills.
It allows me to create original designs. I still haven't found a solid form of kawaii that I want to do for my print on demand. I do want, and I don't want to say simple, but I
Let's
want
call it
designs that
iconic.
but designs that are flat. I'll say that. I want flat design. I do know that. But there's still different shapes.
Mhm.
There are different eyes. There are different ways you can use expression on your art. So even though, like I said, kawaii may look simple, it's deeper than that.
It is so true. Like, it is so true. Absolutely. And I think that's part of the universal appeal of kawaii. You know, this is not new. We can instantly relate to it, right? It is such a powerful, emotionally moving art form, you can say. Yeah, it is an art
Yes.
form.
And even though it looks simple, I don't know if it's because there isn't a lot of elements. It's like one of those, how can I put it? It's like a very intricate art piece where there's a lot of shading and you can look at it and go, wow. You know, you could tell it took this artist hours to render this design, but it's like all of it is there for you. There's nothing you have to think about in looking at that piece. But Malang, as you know, is one of my favorite characters. He's simple.
Yes.
But I think that's what's so cute about it because it's just so pure. It's just him. And it's not all the fluff of the shading and all the different color variants.
Yes.
It's just him and or her because they're gender neutral. But
Yeah.
I think it's very emotional, kawaii.
Yeah.
I guess you have to really get into it to understand that.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that now it is so popularized and we see it in mainstream stores and in children already. If I speak to a 12-year-old and I say kawaii, they go, oh yeah, I have that on my backpack. And if I speak to, you know, older person, they'll be like, what? But yeah, it's, as I always say, it's an exciting time to be an artist because we have all these tools. We have all of these ways to bring our art to life without printing shirts in our living rooms, right? Or investing tons of money and risking. It's just, and we have iPads and Procreate. Like, how cool. Or Affinity Designer. I know you like to work in Vector. Yeah, it's really cool. Now, from your emotional, like, going back to what you said at the beginning, that you felt that you kind of missed out, that you didn't go to art school, and now, like, you've gone through this journey, and now your art is back in your life, and you have a framework, and you have a community that you create with, and a purpose with your print on demand practice. What is your emotional response at this point? Like, experience, you know, how do you feel about art and creativity?
Sometimes it feels like I've missed out on a portion of the history of art, which, you know, I mean, if I really wanted to take the time to learn that, I could. The internet, of course, is full of information, and if you have access to the internet, you can easily learn anything. But I feel that's a good question.
Yeah, I didn't
But
put that in the questions, huh?
I was actually taking a physical class here at one point in art, and I didn't really learn anything. We would just go in, there would be something for us to draw, but there was no instruction, and I really didn't feel like I got help.
Wow.
But now I feel like that I do. And I'm in a community where even if there's not an idea that I may have that would benefit my art, someone else may have that idea. And I actually had someone in our group today to suggest having a template of my character. And then I'm like, that makes so much sense. And all I'd have to do is change the face or change the limbs and put them in different positions. And having those tools, I know will benefit me in developing the art business that I want to. Does that answer your question?
Yes, no, that totally does. Like that's a really powerful example of taking a traditional in-person art course that you had, you expected to be so powerful, but in reality, it was not what you had hoped for. And having this continuous week by week support, community, instruction, it's kind of like the whole package is actually providing help and beyond just what I can give you or any instructor can give you, because that's a group wisdom, right? Yeah. Right. And we inspire each other. We really fire each other up. So that's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm super, super glad for this opportunity to, hear your story and share it with the others so that we can create more art and we can create more beauty and we can all live this creative dream that we have in the most productive way. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share.
Yes.
And to be a part of your club. I really do appreciate all the time that you put into developing the course. And I love that you listen to us. You ask us what we want, what we would benefit from, and you produce that. A lot of courses, I've taken courses on Udemy, Skillshare. They're there. They don't change. Now, some of the instructors may upgrade their course, but for the most part, no. So those courses sit there for years. And as we know with business and creating print-on-demand products, trends change, themes change, colors change. So having the continued learning abilities and growing in your course is an amazing thing. I really do love it. And I really do appreciate you for all that you pour into us. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I should have asked you from the start, like, what's different about the Kawaii Drawing Club? Yeah, no, that you just answered that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Beautiful. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.